Hello, everybody. I forgot my front camera here. We're turning her on. There we are. I knew we were missing something. How we doing, everybody? Welcome to the show. 7 days later today with me, Jason Wolf. Really happy to have you here. I'm excited about today's episode. I think this is going to be the first time that I get everything together and I'm able to produce the show that I want to produce while also releasing the videos afterwards the way I want to release them. It feels pretty good on the inside. I drank a beer this morning. That should help. I got a feeling that's going to help with the smoothness, because usually when you do cocaine or alcohol, the smoothness turns on. So I'm going to turn on the smoothness. Today, I promise you, we're going to talk about Joe Exotic. Did he get pardoned? We're going to talk about that. UFC 257, I talked about it the last episode, but I frigged it up last time, so I am going to talk about UFC 257 again because I don't think anyone is talking that the way I'm talking that because Dana White, someone needs to hit Dana White up if they see this, because I have the options for the lightweight division. Tune in for that. We're going to talk about the liberal bias, why they're attacking sports. We're going to talk about The Bachelor, episode 4. Ooh, that was a good one. And then we're going to talk about Barstool. Barstool is in the news, as they always are, for being pieces of shit. Going to talk about that. Let's get the show started. Thank you for joining me. I'm Jason Wolf. This is 7 days later today. Let's get it started.
Did you say that you will, as I flag down your right? I guess I shaped up alright tonight. And blood rushed through my skin. I said we'll do this again, at a time and a place you'd like. But my words fall short too hollow. Right at your feet I'll follow up. Make sure I'm set to get some. And you said, well, how's tomorrow? For movies, that's friends no more though. Last time I checked, you'll get none. You'll get none.
All right, welcome back to the show. For those of you who are curious, that band is called Wet Bandits. The search you can do in YouTube is Wet Bandits, or you could look up Alexander Luck. I think he is from New Zealand. This guy puts out some good music. I really love his stuff, but I think because he lives in New Zealand, he doesn't has as many views as you would suspect with the music that he's putting out. So go check out the Wet Bandits or Alexander Luck's channel on YouTube. Go check him out on Spotify as well. You can find some great songs there. Really chill, kind of, I guess I'd consider it island type music, but it's not island per se. So go check that out. I think if you guys like Sublime, maybe you like Revolution, bands like that, you will like Wet Bandits. So go check them out. All right, first segment today, we're going to talk about Joe Exotic. Now, for those of you who don't know who Joe Exotic is, over the summer during the pandemic, there was a documentary release called The Tiger King. Joe Exotic was the main character of this documentary. It swept the nation. If you had not heard about it, you're probably old. Everyone's heard about it if you're young. Even those who are a little bit older have heard about it because they want to feel young, so they watch stuff like this. And I tell you what, it was very entertaining. The nation needed it. But throughout the news, during President's last days in office, there was talks about Mr. Joe Exotic getting a pardon. Now, what we're going to dig into here, Joe Exotic was basically taunting on Twitter that he was going to get a pardon. He posted something on Twitter about a limo outside the jail, but Joe Exotic never got to the limo. I didn't see his boyfriend though either. They must have broke up. Bought him a car and he bailed on him. I don't know. Just a thought. Got a feeling that's what happened. All right, let's take a look at why Joe Exotic thinks he was not pardoned, because they were touting it. They were flaunting it. They thought they had it. But now, he was not. And Joe Exotic says he was too innocent and too gay for a Donald Trump pardon in Twitter rant. All right, let's go take a look at what he had to say. I was too innocent and too gay to deserve a pardon from Trump. I only mattered to Don Jr. when he needed to make a comment about me to boost his social media post. Probably not wrong. Boy, were we all stupid to believe he actually stood for equal justice. His corrupt friends all come first. God, I would love. So here's my question first. He's still in jail. Who's tweeting that? Does he have a cell phone in jail? I didn't think you were allowed to have a cell phone in jail. So first off, that's my question there. I'm curious about how Joe Exotic, at Joe Exotic, is tweeting in jail, and it looks like that's a saved photo. That's a saved photo. So this isn't just some phone that was pulled out of some guy's ass. This is a phone that he's had for a while, because that's a saved photo. So that's my first question. How is he tweeting inside jail? And you know what? I got something to say. In his opinion, he wasn't tweeted because he's too gay. He might have a point there. Who did Trump pardon? We're going to take a look at this. I went and found an article of people that Trump did pardon on like the final day of office. And surprise, surprise, I found this gentleman, Mr. Robert Boker. You want to know what he was accused of? Trafficking in wildlife. I fucked this joke up. Trafficking in wildlife. That's right. That's what he was accused of. Trafficking in wildlife. Very similar to what Joe Exotic was charged with. And the reason I think Joe Exotic has a point about him not being pardoned because he was too gay, I can confirm that Mr. Robert Boker is not gay. Similar crimes, no pardon. Joe Exotic may have a point. I think it's up to you to follow up and find out. Or not give a shit, because I don't really give a shit. So, what do you guys think? Was Joe Exotic not pardoned because he was too gay? Maybe he was too innocent, I don't know. But I got a feeling that he may be onto something. Mr. Robert Boker, accused of similar things, and he was pardoned. And I confirm he's not gay. Mainstream media needs to dig into this. That's why I'm here. You want the little news story so that mainstream digs into it? That's why I'm here. Here we go. All right, UFC 257. I have already talked about this. I have already given my thoughts on UFC 257. Now, I just want to say, if you guys are watching on Instagram, go over to YouTube 7 days later today. Follow the show, like, subscribe, and comment. You can follow along with what I'm doing on YouTube live stream, or you can watch a show later. Either way, follow along. That way you get to see the articles and the videos that we're watching. All right, UFC 257. Now, I've already given my take. I I gotta say that I think I have a really good take on what's gonna happen inside the lightweight division. As we all know, over the weekend, Conor lost to Dustin Poirier. And this is a good thing for the UFC. It's also probably a good thing for Conor McGregor because now he gets hungry. So, here is my prediction for the lightweight division in the UFC. When you take a look at everybody in this division, it's obvious that they are completely stacked, okay? It's obvious. Khabib is not coming back. He's not going to be coming back. He's going to have to strip the title, okay? He's going to strip the title, and the people who are going to be fighting for it, I'm going to draw this up for y'all because this is about to get real. Now, Khabib's not coming back. He's going to give up the title. In my personal opinion, the fight to make is Poirier versus Chandler. The reason that this is the fight to make is because before UFC, they said this is like the semifinals. The winners are going to come together and they're going to fight. Nothing should change there. Nothing should change. The reason nothing should change is because Conor, if he loses, he's done. Can we all admit that he's probably done if he loses again? So I do not think that the UFC should put him in a match against Poirier again. Now, I'd say it's again 50-50 who wins. But what I feel they should do is put Conor McGregor versus Oliveira. Now, this is something that no one is talking about right now, and I believe this is the route to go because it sets up the most options, okay? So if Conor fights Oliveira, then I think you have RDA, Rafael Dos Anjos, fight Gaethje. So RDA versus Gaethje. And in my opinion, which probably won't happen, you have them all fight on the same night. And you also bring in Diaz versus Ferguson. Now, this is something that I've heard about other people talking about. And I think this is a great matchup, Diaz versus Ferguson, because this will be Ferguson basically his match to save his life. If he loses this, he's going down to Dante's Inferno, and there's no way out but going even deeper into hell. That means going all the way back to like probably just around the top 10 and working his way back to the top 5, and that's going to be a tough fight. So it'll be interesting to see Diaz come down to 155 fighting Ferguson. That would be a great fight. And then Rafael Dos Anjos, I haven't really dug into this much. This is just my opinion because these are the other matchups that are left, or this is the only matchup that's left. And then Conor fights Oliveira, Poirier versus Chandler for the title. Now here's what happens, okay? Here we have it. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see that, but here we have it, okay? Bring it in a little bit closer. Okay, now, if, let's say Poirier wins. Poirier gets the W, okay? And Conor gets the W. If that happens, if Poirier and Conor get the W, then they're fighting for the title. And now we've got our three-way matchup. Or no, now we've got our final third match to resolute who's the better fighter, okay? Now, if that happens, Chandler and Oliveira lose. So then whatever happens down the road, whoever wins with RDA versus Gaethje probably ends up fighting for the title. Now, let's say Poirier wins, or no, let's say Chandler wins. So now Chandler wins. I mean, let's be honest. Would you want to watch that fight? Conor McGregor versus Chandler? maybe the closest thing to Khabib, I think, in my personal opinion, is Chandler. Which, another thing I think could happen is if Chandler beats Poirier for the title, maybe, just maybe, Khabib comes back to fight Chandler because they're both wrestlers. That's another possibility. So if Conor beats Oliveira, then he fights the winner of RDA versus Gaethje if Diaz loses. If Diaz wins and Chandler wins, Conor fights Diaz for that unifying third fight. And then if he wins there, hopefully... basically, all I'm trying to say here is Conor needs a squiggly route to the top. You can't just throw it at him. Make him work. I think it will be way more worth it for the UFC to make Conor work for that title because there's way more options when you put him versus Oliveira. Because, one, you need him to come out with a win. You really need Conor to come out with a win. If he doesn't, what do you guys think? Is he done? I think he's done. If Conor doesn't come out with a win, he is done. So, the matchups that should be coming down the UFC lightweight division should be Poirier versus Chandler, Conor versus Oliveira, Diaz versus Ferguson, and Rafael dos Anjos versus Gaethje. Could you imagine that? Think about all of those options. Now, I did this segment again because this was too good not to put out on the internet. I wish someone would find this and comment because I would love to hear what Chael Sonnen has to say. I'm going to have to submit this to Chael Sonnen's channel because he was talking all sorts of messes with Oliveira in the championship versus Chandler or versus Poirier. Chandler has paid his dues. Okay, maybe it's not in the UFC, but the way he looked, he dominated Dan Hooker. And Dustin Poirier said he wouldn't fight him because he wants him to go make a name for himself in the UFC, and he thought that he shouldn't have to fight someone who just beat the guy that he beat. Yeah, but you guys were in a dogfight, and Chandler beat the shit out of him. I think that's the fight to make. That's going to be a damn good fight. That's going to be a dog fight again. And then if Poirier wins and Conor win, you put them together. If Poirier loses and Conor wins, you put him with Chandler or you... Who knows? There's so many options. There's so many different things you could do. But in my opinion, I think that's the decision that the UFC should make. They should put Poirier versus Chandler, Conor versus Oliveira, Diaz versus Ferguson, and RDA versus Gaethje. I think those are the matchups to make. I believe it gives it a lot more options. I would be extremely, extremely interested in watching all of those fights. I wonder when they're, or if they're going to start, I understand why you want it, but if they're going to start putting divisions on the same night. I understand why you don't, because guys get hurt. The schedule doesn't always work out the way that you want it to. But I think it would be interesting to have all four of those fights on the same night, on the same card. That should be sometime in the summer, and then all of them fight hopefully sometime later in the year or at the beginning of 2022. In my opinion, that's the route to take. I think it would be very, very interesting if the UFC went that route. All right, what do we got next? So, The Bachelor, my greatest weakness, The Bachelor. I really enjoy watching The Bachelor. I don't know what it is about the show. I don't know what it is about reality TV in general. But there's something about reality TV that just sucks me in. It brings me in. I know it's not real because I know a lot of these things are set up or, you know, the camera makes people act a certain way. So it's not real. Reality TV isn't real, but it's my vice. I love watching it. And The Bachelor, Season 25, Episode 4, here we go. We're going to talk about it a little bit. Matt James, great Bachelor. I'm really enjoying the guy. I think he is not doing too much, which is exactly what you should do, I think, as the Bachelor, because let the women create the drama, and it creates the show. And there was lots of drama on season 25, episode 4. Matt James, The Bachelor. While I'm commenting on this, we are going to take a look at the Bachelor fan takes breakdown of Matt's season week 4 recap. So I'm going to touch on Bachelor fan takes thoughts about episode 4 a little bit, but Sarah left in episode 3, and I don't give a shit. You know, I think that some people want to call the women toxic. This is a goddamn competition. This is a competition. Yeah, some women are more toxic than others, but if you're competing, there's gonna be things that happen within the show that you might disagree with, but again, it's a competition, and it's about drama. I mean, let's. Some of the girls make a good point, I think, where the first sign of hardships and you bail, you know. Well, Bachelor fan take wants to say that it's pretty toxic for them to point that out because she was leaving for family reasons. Here's my thing. Here's the other side of the coin. So she knew her father had Parkinson's or whatever, Stephen Hawking's disease, Lou Gehrig's disease. Why'd she come on the show? Could it be not because she knew she was going to make it all the way through, but because she knew it would be a benefit to her future? Could that be a possibility? And the fact that Matt came on strong to her, she saw that maybe she's going to go to the end, but she can't do that because she has a sick father at home. So why would she come on the show in the first place if she knows she's not going to make it all the way to the end because she has a sick father at home? I think the conclusion is she wanted to further her own career. So I think it's okay that the women are pointing that out. I don't think it's toxic at all. You're taking away time from the other women when you're not even sure you're going to stay there or be there for the long run. I feel like they have plenty to complain about. There's absolutely plenty to complain about there. And the point of this whole thing is every single one of these women, Victoria included, are going to have their opinions. They're going to speak up. The show is about drama. The show is about drama. I think that there's certain shows on YouTube and the mainstream media that are going to call all of these women toxic. Even though they're kind of calling out the truth. For good reason. Now, Victoria, I don't like Victoria. But she's very entertaining. She's extremely entertaining. That's what this show is about. I don't give a shit that I don't like her. That's the whole point. The producers want you to not like her. That's why she is on the show. So, with everybody complaining about this woman and how she acts, I don't give a shit. I mean, you guys want to sit on your high horse, but sometimes she's telling the truth. I think it's important to listen to the truth, but say fuck you as well. You can say fuck you to someone, but understand if they're telling the truth. But Victoria gaslights Katie. And this is something that I don't like. I think people should just step up and say, hey, this is how I feel. That's the way it is. Obviously, Victoria is extremely manipulative. Extremely manipulative. It's kind of hard to watch how manipulative she is. She is, if you took all of the feminine toxic traits that are out there and put them into one woman, she would take the cake. Victoria would take the cake. For those who don't know, Katie said, hey, please stop what you're doing. And Victoria told her to stop asking her to stop doing what she's doing because she was just speaking her truth. She was just speaking her truth. Now, this is a good example of what happens when a woman is trying to manipulate you. Fellas, women all know it. They know exactly what's going on as soon as she confronts Katie the way she did. Victoria took Katie. They sat down. It was in this little preview here. And she asked her to stop telling her to stop talking because she was speaking her truth. And Katie made a good point that, well, you're speaking your truth, but you're also bashing people, so I have the right to say what I want to say. And she absolutely does, and she did the right thing, in my opinion. But if Victoria wasn't on the show, would you be watching? Probably not. So, yes, I think it's fine to bash people. I think it's okay to speak the truth. But here's the thing. No one in the show is better than anyone else. All of them come onto the show to meet a guy and get fame. Now, are all of their hearts in the right places? Who knows? I think some of them are. Some of them probably aren't. Just like there's good people and there's bad people in this world. And we got new women. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. And then she took the crown. That shit was crazy. When Victoria took Catalina's crown, that was insane. That's like something you would see on the playground. But man, was it entertaining. Man, was it entertaining. Yes, it makes you hate Victoria, but it was entertaining as hell. And is there an escort in the house? We don't know. We don't know. But that was another reason that people were calling some of the girls toxic. They were calling some of the girls toxic because they were pointing out that Brittany, one of the new girls, might be an escort. Now, the girl to point this out is Anna. Anna has not had much time with Matt, so I'm sure she is extremely jealous of these new girls coming into the picture. And the question is, did she actually get texts from people saying, watch out for this girl? That was my best impression of Anna. Watch out for this girl. I'm kind of upset because Anna was a dark horse for me, and she's turning out to be one of Victoria's cronies, and I didn't see this coming. I'm ashamed a little bit that I picked her because she just had no time, and the only reason that it seems like she's hanging around is because of what Chris Harrison said at the live stream when he introduces the girls. She has great reactions. Like, we'll go full. This is her all the time. Now, she's a pretty girl, but that's her every time. So, I can't believe I picked her. I seriously can't believe I picked her. She is becoming friends with Victoria. Anna and Victoria becoming best friends. Now, Bachelor Fan Take was also calling this toxic. But there's two sides of that coin. Yes, it was probably a toxic thing to do. But are we going to start talking about morals when this show is all about a guy having his choice among 32 women? Really? We're going to dig into morals and girls talking behind another girl's back because she might have heard something that truly could have a reason to be known. If you were dating someone and they were an escort, would you want to know? Would you want to know even if that didn't come from that person? I think you would. Maybe you're okay with it, maybe you're not, but wouldn't you want to know? So for people to say that it's toxic for them to comment on sex workers, now here's the thing. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. I could give a shit what you do. I don't think anyone gives a shit. She probably gives more pleasure to people than most therapists do, okay? As an escort, again, she probably gives more therapy to folks than most therapists. So I don't give a shit what you do. But That's information that a significant other should probably know about. And in the show of complete morals and goodness that we seem... Oh, I just spilt my coffee all over my shirt in the chair. Karma. You know what? I'm wrong. You shouldn't talk about sex workers. You shouldn't talk about sex workers. You should not talk about sex workers, or else you're going to spill all over yourself and get coffee all over your nice white shirt. This is one of my favorite white shirts, too. I've changed my mind. Even if you are possibly dating a sex worker, no one should tell you, because you're probably going to get coffee all over your nice white shirt. That's what I have to say about The Bachelor. I'm done with it because apparently I am given the wrong takes. I'm giving the wrong takes on The Bachelor. So on we go to the next segment. And this is an interesting one. Because you're probably not going to hear about it on the mainstream media, and it's probably something that's fairly important and should be common knowledge to the immediate public. If you guys didn't hear about this, iPhone 12s, they could cause pacemakers to stop working properly. That's right. Hide your grandma, hide your grandpa, because the iPhones are taking everybody out here. Now, isn't that crazy? You're not going to hear about this in mainstream media. You might see some articles about it, but you're probably not going to see it on the mainstream media on TV. You're probably not gonna see it, and you know what? It makes sense because I'm sure Apple owns most of those companies. I'm sure it owns most of where are we going here? All right, we're gonna get a. Is the stream going still? Yeah. All right. All right. iPhones 12. They are killing people. They haven't killed yet, but there was a study that found they could kill you. Not kill you, but basically stop your pacemaker from working. How big of a deal this is, I don't know. How many people with pacemakers have a iPhone 12? I doubt there's many of them. So let's take a look at this little segment someone threw together. I couldn't find anything in the mainstream media. So I had to find this guy, Lando Tech, talking about does the iPhone 12 shut down pacemakers?
News for you. As most of us know, a pacemaker is a small electrical device implanted into a person's chest in order to keep their heart beating to a regular rhythm. It's been no secret to the medical world that pacemakers and magnets do not mix. According to WebMD, a magnet coming too close to a patient's pacemaker can cause it to go out of sync and even shut down. A few months ago, when Apple unveiled its iPhone 12, one thing they boasted about was how they were able to make wireless charging so easy by implementing extra strong magnets. Apple's MagSafe technology is a real practical addition to wireless charging, giving users the ability to effortlessly line up the charging coils because they're being pulled into alignment by the magnets. However, when these same magnets come too close to the chest of a person with a pacemaker, the results could be tragic. The Heart Rhythm Society published a report where doctors found that the magnets in the iPhone 12 were powerful enough to put a pacemaker into a suspended state. As a result, Apple updated its documents to warn against keeping the iPhone 12 and its MagSafe accessories too close to pacemakers. They recommend keeping the iPhone 6 inches away from your chest when you're using it and 12 inches away when it's charging wirelessly. With that being said, if you want to err on the side of caution and steer clear of MagSafe wireless charging altogether, then go to the Amazon link I have in my description. It's for a dual port wall charger that comes with 2 lightning cables. It's normally $16, but with my
Alright,
promo
now he's
code,
trying to
you
sell
can
us
get it
stuff.
for $8.
So you're probably not going to find that in the mainstream news. Now, why is that important? Now, is this going to stop me from using iPhones? Probably not. But at least when I'm on the phone and I see my grandpa drop dead, I have an idea what the diagnosis could be. His pacemaker stopped working because I made a phone call. Everyone should know that. Careful with your phone calls. Could be killing grandpa or grandma with one simple call. All right, next. Jason Whitlock expresses why liberals exploit sports to push their agenda. Now, I definitely agree with what we're about to jump into, so I'm not going to do much talking on this one. We are going to watch a video on what Jason Whitlock has to say about the liberal media and their use of sports to push their agenda. I truly think this is what's going on. Maybe you agree, maybe you disagree. After I go through this video and this article, please comment below. Let me know if there's another side to this I need to be looking at. I would love to dig into it. Here we are over at Louder with Crowder. This came from Glenn Beck and the Blaze. Let's see how this works when I go full
to
screen.
overtake baseball. Football became more patriotic than even baseball.
Right.
The military flyovers, the national anthems before the game, all of that. The NFL tried to make you feel like the most patriotic thing you can do on a Sunday is go to church and watch football.
Yep.
And it was a brilliant business strategy that catapulted football to where it's America's national pastime. It's something that I authentically believe in. Sports do teach the values that best exemplify America. But I think that, and again, this is really big picture, but we're starting to now really understand it. Like China and our competitors figured out, if you really want to influence American culture, you have to get in the sports world. You
We're in
have
an
to
information
influence
war.
that.
Yeah.
If you can turn that left, Marxist,
It's
progressive,
an information
whatever,
war.
then you have a chance to really influence American culture and spin the whole culture
So,
in a negative direction.
When did this happen? Because it seems like, to an outside observer, the American pastime, American football, it was always America, and then it's seemingly on the outside, on a dime, all of a sudden it's hate America, and this is what's wrong with America, and preaching all the time. And when did that happen, and why did that happen?
I don't think it was on a dime, and there's been a process, but go look at, and again, I'm not some super harsh Barack Obama critic, but I'm just let the facts speak for themselves. Barack Obama intentionally partnered with ESPN because he wanted to speak to that sports audience.
Right.
And he every year, the NCAA tournament, Barack Obama filling out his bracket.
Right.
Barack Obama, the greatest basketball fan in the history of the presidency. Let's go do short stories on Barack playing basketball in the backyard of the White House, and let's Barack at NBA games. And so there was like a process of like, let's move left-wing stuff into the sports world. The other thing as it relates to basketball, and that was Barack Obama's big thing, Nike, the shoe company. Nike is a much bigger business, 5-6 times much more lucrative than the NBA. Nike actually runs the NBA. The NBA is a marketing arm of Nike. Nike's relationship with China is the key to all of this.
Interesting. All right, what do you guys think? Is there any truth to that? Is there any truth to our major players in the corporate world and their relationship with China? And how they want people to think about their relationship with China? Did Trump's trade war have something to do with all this? I don't know. I'm not that smart. So I can't connect the dots because I'm not that smart. So you can tell me anything that you want on the news and I'll believe it. Because I'm not that smart and I just want to believe in things that are simple to believe in. I forgot to turn my moon on. That sucks. That sucks. Oh, well, that's okay. I got a feeling that all the videos and everything else is working, so. All right, what do you guys think? Is that a stretch? You know, out of nowhere, he pulls up China. He pulls out China. Now, why is he pulling up China? Well, let's go back over to louderwithcrowder.com, and we're going to talk about. I'm just going to read this article and see what you guys think. Jason Whitlock exposes why liberals exploit sports to push their agenda. Tom Brady is heading to his 10th Super Bowl. If I were to make a single mortal lock bet, it would be that for the next 2 weeks there will be almost as much talk about him being a Trump supporter as there will be about whether he has a plan for the Kansas City Chiefs defense. Politics over the past 12 years or so has crept into all aspects of entertainment, with sports getting it the worst. As Jason Whitlock explains, that wasn't an accident. So that was the video we just watched. Drink a lot of beer, too. Don't forget about drinking beer. Beer and football go together like Democrats and killing jobs to appease left-wing activists. That's a joke, Facebook. A humorous figure of speech. Everyone knows you can't literally kill a job. I think that's also a joke as well. It's maddening if you either disagree with leftists or just want to enjoy a game without the social commentary. That doesn't make it any less effective. It's why Andrew Breitbart always said politics is downstream from culture. It's why Donald Trump wanted to save college football and had a summit with his fellow president. It's also why blue checkmark trends on Twitter for idiotic nuggets like this. Protected tweets, but the list comes for all. As we approach another Tom Brady Super Bowl, let's remember, he's friends with Trump and he endorsed Republicans and their policies, while one of the greatest quarterbacks of our generation, Colin Kaepernick, had his career derailed for kneeling during the national anthem. Hashtag hypocrisy. There's no hypocrisy there. Tom Brady has 6 rings, going for 7. Colin Kaepernick is a kid who was adopted by 2 white people, and now he's saying there's something wrong with white America. But I'm going to say that again. Colin Kaepernick was adopted by 2 white people, and now he's saying there's something wrong with white America. Now, I better back up there. Yes, there are bad cops, and they should be held responsible. No one disagrees with that. There's probably some good that came from the BLM movement, but there's also a lot of bad that came from it. Okay? So we can talk about both. I'll continue. Yes, I would like to live in a world where everything in our culture is not politicized. Me too. Especially sports, which is where I go to get away from politics. Duh. That's what everyone's saying about this stuff. They want to watch sports to enjoy sports. If they want to watch the news, they can go watch the news. But that's not the world we live in. The left figured that out early on. The right, while making gains over the past few years, still has catching up to do. Yep, they definitely do. You know what? I don't think that the right should jump into this bullshit that we always see on the left, because they're just going to continue to push a narrative that is going to continue to put you in a negative light no matter who you are. And if you guys don't remember, I was talking about the Antichrist, Mr. Dave Portnoy. Now, I said that the mainstream media would convict him as the Antichrist because he's doing too much good with the Barstool Fund. And again, the Barstool Fund was a charity that Barstool started. And I'm sure Dave Portnoy started it. And what the Barstool Fund did was raise over $20 million for local restaurants that were struggling during the pandemic. Now, the reason I said he was going to be the reason that he's going to be turned into the Antichrist is because he's just doing too much good out there and making the establishment look stupid. And by the establishment, I mean anyone making over $1 kajillion a year. Okay? These people you don't hear about, don't know about, he's making them look bad. He's making the government look bad. Actually helping people? Now, personally, I don't think it's the job of the government to help people. It's the job of the government to protect people from threats that are foreign and domestic. So it upsets me when people vote for leaders who they think are going to help them. It's not the job of the government to help you. It's the job of the church, charities, and businesses like this. And if this doesn't show you that places like Amazon don't give a shit about anyone, here's your proof. Because Barstool went out and they did what most companies wouldn't do. They put the money where their mouth is. But then you've got people coming out with articles saying that Barstool is either evil or the most ignorant thing on earth, or both. Now, they aren't going directly after Dave Portnoy himself, but they are going after his CEO. The reason that they're probably going after the CEO is because she hasn't been in the news that much. What has been in the news a lot is the Barstool Fund and Dave Portnoy. So like I said in that video, they can't crucify him just yet. They gotta wait until he's done helping people. But what they can do in the meantime is go after someone else. So we're gonna read this article. We're gonna see what you think. This has to do with the Barstool CEO, Erica Nardini. She's either evil, the most ignorant person on earth, or both. Now, let's see why. A paycheck is a paycheck. I'm sure that's what Erica Nardini would tell anyone who questions why she's the CEO of Barstool. It's what makes the world go round. We know that here very well. Still, there's putting out fires, which Nardini has to do a lot, thanks to, I don't know how to say this word, the detritus that the site and its employees and readers constantly release into the world. So she doesn't like it, so it's bad. And then there's actively firing it at targets. Nardini either doesn't know the difference or wants us to believe she doesn't. And though the world definitely is idiotic, and the sports world even more so, God, what a fucking high horse this person's on. You'd have to be just about the biggest rube imaginable to buy that. Perhaps this is what happens when Nardini works amongst and for rubes all day. She can't see anything else. Nardini's latest swan dive into the she doesn't, or this is a guy. This is a guy writing this. He doesn't even get into what he's talking about, just trashes her for the first 4 paragraphs. Nardine's latest swan dive into the septic tank of her own creation is to declare war on the NWHL while trying to claim that she's not doing so, or at least trying to remain above it. Nardini, this person, is it Nardin or Nardini? Nardini released this video on Twitter as more and more fans and players in the NWHL tried to keep as great a distance from the bastion of farm runoff as they can. So the NWHL, National Women's Hockey League. They're probably upset with Barstool because they're shitting on the NWHL the same way they shit on the NWA. Or WNBA. The WNBA. Which wouldn't be around if it weren't for the NBA. Alright, so let's see what this video is. I've already taken a look at it. What do you think? Is she, when you watch the video, is she, we're going to read on in the article. It basically says she's making threats to, this tweet was written in a way that suggests that the NWHL having any relationship or affiliation with or association or connection to me or Barstool Sports would be a terrible thing. There is so far to go in terms of getting eyeballs, bringing money to the sport, bringing fans to the sport, creating awareness of the sport. If you seek to kill or silence or essentially shun anyone who's new, it's never going to work. Personally, I don't know why my effort is a bad thing. I also think it's interesting to see some of the people in women's hockey who I have had great conversations with turn on Twitter and just pretend that none of that occurred. I'm not going to go anywhere. I'm going every single day, and I hope more people do, and I hope eventually that they see that more people and more eyeballs on the sport and more enthusiasm for the sport is a really good thing. Everybody knows I want to buy. So she is basically saying that Erica Nardini in that video was saying that she doesn't understand why her trying to help the NWHL isn't a good thing. And you know what this article is doing here on Deadspin is trying to say that she's trying to attack them because Barstool fans are pretty aggressive, and her just putting out this video is a target on the back of all of those who have tweeted against Barstool and their helping of the NWHL. But you know what? This is what Barstool does. If you don't want to touch Barstool, you better not talk about them. Better not mention them, because if you go public and say that you want nothing to do with Barstool, they're going to come at you. And they have the right to do so. And you know why they're probably not looking for help from Barstool? Is because there's probably some woke person in the front office. There's probably some woke person in the front office at the NWHL, and she wants nothing to do with Barstool because they have talked badly about the NWA, the WNBA, and maybe the NWHL in the past. But you know what? Wrong move to make. You should be taking as much help as you can get because, like the WNBA, they're probably getting a lot of help from the NHL. Because if it weren't for the NBA, the WNBA wouldn't even be around. It's bullcrap that people think that product is just as good as the NBA. Not the NBA is getting any better. They're just getting worse and worse. You know why? Because the product hasn't evolutionized. Here, in my opinion, this is a little tidbit. The WNBA needs to bring the rim down to 9 feet. And people want to talk about that being a insult to women. Biologically, men and women are different. Get over it. If I saw a bitch dunking over another bitch, I might tune in and watch that. Okay? I might tune in and watch that. But because you're so fragile and you think we're just as good as the man, you're not. But that doesn't make you any less of a person. It just means you're biologically different. Bring that net down, start dunking over some bitches, and I'm watching. All right, everybody. That is the show. That is the show. We're at 58 minutes. I got a feeling everything came out pretty well. Did anyone stick with us through this whole thing? Let's take a look. Let's take a look here. Well, I don't think so. We had one viewer. I'm still curious who that viewer is. That's okay, though. I just want to say thank you guys for watching. If you do end up watching any of the videos, please like, subscribe, and comment. I'm going to be putting out the individual videos this time because I think I got everything right here. I think I got everything right. What an hour. What a way to start the day. I wake up early for this stuff. I'm going to keep putting it together. Going to be consistent because I got a feeling that is what's going to bring people to the show. I also got to remember my moon. I'm getting the burps. I'm out of here. I'm probably going to go pound another beer. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, comment. 7 days later today with me, Jason Wolf. Thanks for watching, guys.